So, welcome back. Math Bison is dedicated to supporting learners, young learners, who probably want to just get ahead in their work, or they are having challenges, no matter how little and how big it seems. We are here to work with you. So, you can subscribe, share with your friends, and let's get great and let's be fantastic with our math experience. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the easy ways, the best ways to approach your word problems so that you don't have a headache just because you have a sight of it. You know that feeling when you see theory number one. A man is traveling from London to China. You're like, oh goodness, these people have come again. I think I'm just going to fail this. Maybe I should not even try it. Hello, my friend. You're going to try it. You're going to crush it after this video. Let's go. So I've picked a few questions that will help us to discuss the basic and the fundamental principles and approaches, the key ideas that will help when you keep those in mind, when you are aware. So let's start. The first question we're going to use today is word problems. Word problems. Word problems. Getting ahead. Okay. The first one is this. It says the product of the product of 9 and another number is 63. Find the other number. All right. In this question, I'm picking the basic ones because we need to start from easy, the simple questions, to the more delicate ones. The underlying key ideas are still the same. If you can solve the simple ones, you'll also be able to solve the big ones. So the product of 9 and other number and another number is 63. Find the other number. The first thing you want to think about is keywords. Think about keywords or key terms because they decide whether you get it right or not. The keywords or the key terms are information provided in the question that if they change, the answer would be affected. There's some of this information we have in this question. Whether they change or not, nothing is going to happen. The answer is going to always be the same. Now, let's take them one after the other. If you say product in this question is a keyword. Because why? If we say the sum will not give us the same answer as what? Product. 9 itself is a keyword because if we change it to 10, the answer will be affected. Another number is not really something that can change. I can say it in another way. I can say another number, I can say a number, nothing is happening. It's still the same idea. 63 is also a keyword here, and If you change 63, it affects the answer. Now, whatever we do today, we need to put these three keywords in mind and make sure that we don't mix them up or we don't change them by any way. Now, what is the next thing you want to look at? In case you haven't done this, one of the key ways of getting ahead in your ability to solve word problems is for you to learn and widen your list of what? Mathematical vocabulary. Mathematical vocabulary. It seems to us that the only time we think about vocabulary is when we are studying our English. But not so, even in math. If you're going to be a great interpreter of questions, you need to widen, you need to improve your mathematical vocabulary. And in this case, what do I mean? You need to know the synonyms, you need to know mathematical words or operations, mathematical words or terms, and what? Their synonyms, and even the antonyms. Yes. What do I mean by this? Here you are saying product. You need to ask yourself, what is a product? Product is what? What you get when two other numbers are multiplied by each other. Or when a number is multiplied by itself, what you get is a square, it's also a product. If it's multiplied by another number, it's still a product. So for example, A times B is AB. So AB is what? Product. In this vein, 3 times 2 gives you 6. So 6 is what? Product. Now, the product of 9 and another number is 63. You need to ask yourself, which other word actually mean product? We can say product, we can call it multiplication. What else? Sometimes we say continuous addition. Some people will say times. Like when you say 3 times 2. Multiply. You can say multiply. And sometimes we can have other ones like, okay, if you say subtraction, it can actually mean deduction. It can mean subtract. I know what I'm saying. When I say subtraction, I say subtract. Then we can say reduce. We can say less. In fact, there are some cases where greater is treated as what? Subtraction. For example, if I ask you by how much is 10 greater than 3? You are never going to think about anything else but what? Subtraction. So imagine if you don't know this, okay? By how much is 10 greater than 3? By how much? Is greater than 3 by 7. So if you don't understand all of this, you are going to have a tough time, interpreting word problems. So let's continue with this particular one. Then as we go in the next questions, we explain further. So here, the first step you want to take is to look at what? The keywords you are given. So now, I have another number here that I don't know which number is it. But ideally, I want to say we start with that one and say let the number be what? It's a variable, so I could use any letter. But in this case, I'm not going to use X. I'm going to use M. Let the number be M. Okay? So how do we interpret this? The product. We know product is times of 9 and another number. Don't forget, if you say M times 9, it is still what? Product of 9 and another number. Another number, M. Now we have M times 9. It can also be expressed as what? 9 times M. It can also be expressed as what? M dot 9 or 9 dot M, because the dot can be dot, especially in some advanced works. So what are we talking about? Once you have done this, you are already getting ahead. Then the answer is 63. Every time you see is, this is always points to what? Sorry. This is always telling us the equal sign. The equal sign. So is usually where you put your what? Equal sign. And after that is 63. Whatever happens, whatever comes after is usually, in this, especially in this case, is what comes after the equal sign, which is what? 63. Usually, we say the result. When you're talking about this, we say result. We say gives. So what is given after the operation is conducted? This is it. So now let's rewrite. So I can say, let me go with maybe the second one. 9 multiplied by M equals 63. This is the first step that gets you on the right track to getting your answer. I am very sure that if I had asked you initially and I say 9M equals 63, what is M? It's easy for you to just shout 7. You're going to scream it, 7. Before I even ask you, you're finishing it. But then, when we put it in word problem pattern or form, you're going to have to really think about it critically and make sure that you're not missing a step. So here is easier. We have done the interpretation. We've converted into what? Algebraic expressions. So it's a simple equation now. From here, we can say, oh, divide we can say divide both sides by 63. Sorry, divide both sides by 9. Divide both sides by 9, which is the coefficient of the unknown, the coefficient of m in this case. So 9m equals 63. Divide both sides by 9, and you're going to have m equals what? 7. So the product. So another thing you must do in word problems is that word problems are asked in words. They are real life situation. You should also answer in words. Don't just write m is 7 and go. Therefore, the number is what? Is 7. The next question is question number 2. A number divided by 4 gives 120 as an answer. What is the number? What is the number? A number divided by 4 gives 120 as an answer. What is the number? So the step 1 you want to take is to look for your keywords. Keywords or key terms. These are the ones that help you to just think in the right direction, extract the most important information from the question, and use it for your working. Now, what are the keywords here? The number, a number. There's a number. A number, yes, we don't know yet. It's a variable. It's an abstract number. Divided, divided. Where it is said divided, that is a keyword. Divided. Why is it key? It is key because if we change that word, then the answer will change. The whole word will change. Divided is key. If you're going to get this question right, divided is key. Divided, not summed. It was not subtracted. It was not multiplied. It was divided. So divided is key. By what? 4. 4 is also key because it was not just divided, it was divided by the number 4, not number 5, not number 7, not number 90, but what? Number 4. If 4 should change, things will change. And the answer that is given is 120. 120 is also key because if you change 120 to another number, the answer you're going to get is going to be entirely different. That number that's a variable, I could say a number, I could say something was divided, or somebody, a number, whatever. I could use other ways to say a number, and it doesn't really matter. But these other aspects cannot be changed, and it will not affect the question or the answer. Now, what next should we do? Let's extract what we are given. We are given divided, something is divided, we're given 4, we are given 120. So how do we manipulate all of this? Before manipulation, you need to seek interpretation. Try to understand, try to interpret what you have understood in your own words before you can do anything. A number divided by 4 gives 120. What do you do? Let's start with saying, let this number that is divided, okay, let the number be, I don't want to use x, I'm going to use h. Let the number be h. So now I'm not going to say a number, I'm going to be saying h. H is divided. H is divided. H is divided by what? By 4. Pay attention to this. Division is not commutative. When we're talking about properties of operations, order is important in division. If order is changed, answer is affected. I explained that in another video. Order is important. If it changes, then the answer is affected. 1 divided by 2 is 1 over 2. 2 divided by 1 is still 2. You see the answers are different. What happened? We just changed the order. 1 came before 2 here, but 2 came before 1 here. And the answers are affected. So division is an operation that is not what? Commutative. Order is important. So a number divided by 4 cannot be the same. This one is correct. It cannot be 4 divided by h. This will be wrong. This one is 4 divided by a number. If you look at our algebraic modeling, you would understand video, you understand this better. A number divided by 4 gives 120. Now, we are going with the first one, h divided by 4. Gives, remember I said gives is always pointing you to what? Equal sign. H, so we say h, this is the number. Okay, let's start with this. A number divided by 4 will be what? It's going to write it as, interpretation of that is h divided by 4. Gives what? 120. This is going to give us equal to what? 120. Now, if we want to combine all of this, we're going to have, therefore, h divided by 4 equals 120. This is the interpretation. Now, at this point, you also need to consider another trick. Remember that division is also what? Quotient. It can be sharing, and it can be ratio. In fact, in some cases, it is percentage. Can be ratio. Okay, let me say fraction. Fraction, yes. So, h divided by 4 equals 120. How do we solve from here? We can rewrite and say h over 4 equals 120. Then divided by 1. So how do we proceed? All we need to do here is just cross multiply, and we have h equals 4 multiplied by 120. And this is going to give us what? 480 h. So therefore, the number which was divided by 4 to get 120 is what? Number is what? 480. Thank you. Let's take a third example before we end the video. The third example says the difference between two numbers is what? 540. One of the numbers. One of the numbers is 200. Find the larger number. Okay, so let's start with keywords. Values that can change or that can affect the answer or the outcome if we should change them. Key terms. Here we have the difference. My friend, difference is key. If you change the difference to product, the answer is affected. If you change it to um, sum, the answer will be affected. So the difference between two numbers, I think two numbers, the number two numbers are also key expressions, because if we say 3 now, something else can happen. 540 is key because if we change it to another number, the answer is affected. Now, how do we interpret all of this? In our interpretation, we need to consider the key expressions and what is similar to them. Difference can be what? Subtract, can be deduct. We've done that before. Can be reduce, can be less than. Another way to say less than, another way to say greater than. And it can be minus. So any of this actually helps us to understand that, okay, we are not just working, we really know what we have to do. We are not in doubt. Am I supposed to multiply? No, it says difference. And for me to reaffirm to myself that this is correct for me, I need to be able to tell myself that difference is also subtraction. It is also what? Deduction. It is also what? Reduce. It is also what? Less than. So say it to yourself in different other words that are similar to difference between two numbers. And I'm just going to say let these numbers solution. Let the two numbers be what? Let's say A and B. But honestly, we have been told that one of the numbers is 200. So maybe we don't need variable again. So we can say A, instead we say A and 200. But what is not clear is whether A comes before 200 or 200 comes before A, because subtraction is also not commutative. Order is important. Am I going to write it as A minus 200 or or 200 minus A, or that number minus A, or that number minus 200? Which way are we going to do? Now, one of the numbers is 200. Find the larger number. We are told that there's a larger number. Okay. Larger number must, if you are doing subtraction, and if your answer is positive, larger number can only come first before the smaller number. Then you can get a positive answer. What do I mean? If you add 3, if you subtract 3, okay, subtract can also mean take away, right? Take away. If you subtract 3 from, say, 20, what is it going to be? You're going to write it as what? 20 minus 3. And the answer is going to be positive because the larger number comes first. In this case, 20 comes first. We're going to have what? 17. If the smaller number comes first, say 3 minus 20, then it is different because in this time it is 20 that is subtracted from 3. But don't forget, the question did not clearly tell us that it is this particular one that is subtracted from the other. It just said a difference, meaning any of these can work. Difference of 20 and 3 can be 20 minus 3, and it can also be 3 minus 20. But largely, we want to focus on what? Making the first number. So we are having positive difference and negative difference. Okay. Positive difference will mean that we are putting the larger number first, and the negative difference will be what? We're putting the smaller number first, so that we can have minus 17. Now, it is also important in this question that the difference is mentioned, but the order is not mentioned. Which one comes first? But because the answer is a positive answer, then it's a positive difference. So what we are going to do is to make sure that the first number is the larger one. In this case, A is going to be larger. So now we have addressed whether A is going to be, is it going to be A minus 200 or 200 minus A. The difference between two numbers is 540. One of the numbers is 200. Find the larger number. So 200 minus A will be wrong, but 200, A minus 200 will be correct. Because why? This is the only one that gives us a positive difference, which is in this case 540. So we have gives, the next term, is 540. Is equal sign. So is 540 is just saying 5. The answer is equal to what? 540. So let's combine these two together, and we'll have A minus 200 equals what? 540. Yes. In this case, what do we do next? At this point, we're going to look for in algebraic equation, in a simple equation, a number is subtract 200 from it, and we get 540. So what do we do? All we need to do is to transfer this minus 200 to the other side by way of collection of like terms, okay? Because it's a constant and another constant, so the variable will be on one side. So we're going to have to do what? We add 200 to both sides, plus 200 plus 200. And when you do this, 200 will cancel this 200, and you have A equals what? 740. So therefore, the larger, pay attention to this. The question says, find the larger number. I want to answer to this question. So I'm going to say the larger number. I'm not even just saying the answer. The larger number is what? 740. Another thing you want to do to be sure that your answer is correct is to do your check every time you solve a question. Check. If the larger number is 740, now come back to this expression where you have A minus 200 equals 540. If this answer is correct, then 740 by substitution minus 200 should give 540. And as you can see, I'm having 540 on the left and 540 on the right. There's a balance. Left hand side equals right hand side. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of this video. See you in another video. Bye.